Hey there, I'm super excited to announce my AI Architecture Bootcamp live cohort, which is targeted for architects, whether it's a solution architect, application architect, infrastructure architect, or anyone who is either working as an architect or would like to work as an AI architect. So in this video, I'm going to talk everything about in terms of what the learning objective is, what this outcome of these live cohorts are, what the prerequisite in order to attend this live cohort, including the course duration, module-wise topic, and at the end I'll give an application. It's an application only program so that you understand and we attract the right crowd. So with that, let's first begin with in terms of what this overview or what this cohort is all about. So this is a live hands-on program designed for experienced professionals who are stepping into senior AI, generative AI, or solution architect roles in terms of AI. So rather than teaching you the tools or framework in isolation, this program will teach you the thinking process behind the architectural decisions, how to move from a requirement brief to a production grade system design through a structured questioning, deliberate trade-off analysis, as well as framework-based decision making. And you'll be also designing and architecting three real-world systems from scratch. First one is about machine learning classification pipeline. We'll build end-to-end, decide and design the end-to-end machine learning classification pipeline. You'll also be designing an enterprise RAG, which stands for Retrieval Augment Generation based enterprise level system. And then third, you'll be also building multi-agent customer operations platform on how to build agents and multi-agent and which agent platform or architecture to pick up. You'll be learning to ask the right questions before drawing any single box of diagram as an architecture. And by end of this live cohort, you will have a portfolio of architectural decision records, which is ADR in architect terminology, and a reusable AI architect decision playbooks so that you can showcase in your next interview or apply for these things on day one on your job role as well. With that, let's look at what the learning objective of this program. So by end of this live cohort, you'll be able to decompose an AI machine learning problem statement into an architectural or structured architectural questions using the 7 universal concerns categories for an architect that uses by architect. You'll be also designing an end-to-end architecture for machine learning pipelines, RAG, which is retrieval augment generation, as I said earlier, RAG systems, as well as multi-agent platforms from requirement gathering to design and actual deployment into the production environment. You'll be also able to make and define the key technology decision like multi-model, which model to pick from. So the model choices, infrastructure choices on which you're going to build this infrastructure for your AI models. You'll be also doing vector databases, including orchestration platform that you're going to use using the architectural decision record that you've created. You'll be also able to apply the constraint-driven evaluation for hardened security in terms of hardened system to scale, multi-tenancy, compliance, and cost, which are key important decisions you have to make as an architect. You'll also be able to identify the failure modes, anti-patterns, and as well as blast radius risk across AI system types. You'll be also designing an architect observability, human the loop, and security layer for the production AI systems. And then also be by end of this program, you will have a learning objective to estimate and optimize the cost across full AI stack, right from compute, which is your virtual machines or containers and Kubernetes, to storage, to the API calls, to the model serving, which is being serving this AI patterns that you've designed. You'll also be synthesizing cross-cutting concerns or including right from deployment to compliance to cost into a reusable architectural decision playbook. And finally, you'll be by end of this cohort, you'll be able to present and define the architecture under the structured peer critique that your enterprise might demand. With that, let's look at what the key live outcomes of this cohort that you can expect. So upon completion of this live cohort, you'll be walk away with a portfolio of 8 to 10 architectural decision record documenting the real design trade-offs. You'll be also having a personal AI architectural decision playbooks, synthesizing all the frameworks into a reusable methodology. You will also have the AI architect field. It's a 30-page plus printed reference material or reference guide with question banks, decision frameworks, patterns, and anti-patterns. You'll also have a 7 category question generator card for synthesizing all your requirement analysis. You'll also be having a capstone project pack, that which is a kind of an interview ready portfolio that you can use in interviews or any project that will go into demonstrating end-to-end design, system design that you've developed for designing the AI-based systems. You'll also have practical fluency in the requirement gathering, questioning, decision, as well as diagram design change. And then finally, you will walk away with a confidence to lead in architectural discussions, whiteboard sessions that you have to do as an enterprise architect, and design reviews in the context of AI, generative AI context. With that, let's look at what are the prerequisites in order for you to be part of this cohort. So you should have at least 3+ years of software engineering, either a software engineering or data engineering or machine learning engineering or technical architect role so that it will be helpful. You should also have working familiarity with any of the cloud platform, whether it's Amazon AWS, Microsoft Azure, or Google Cloud or GCP, Oracle's OCI, or any of equivalent either private or public cloud experience. You should also have a basic idea about what is an API, APIs are, what is the API gateway, load balancers, managed databases, other things which your this AI system will be integrating with. You should also have basic understanding of some machine learning concepts like training, inference, model evaluation, deployment, etc. And you don't need to build the model, you don't need to develop them, but a short basic understanding of these models, what happens when they run it as well. You should also have the basic familiarity or concepts around what is LLM, generative AI at a conceptual level, what is a prompt or RAG or agent, what agent does. And if you don't have these prerequisites, especially the last three ones, then you should at least be prepared to go through our study material. It's a self-study material where you understand, where you cover all these concepts, right from cloud, basic cloud providers and storage, networking, compute, databases, APIs, gateways, load balancers, LLM concepts, machine learning model, end-to-end data pipeline and machine learning pipelines, as well as the basic conceptual levels, because these are the building blocks on which we're going to design this system. So you should, if you're unfamiliar with these concepts, make sure that you're ready to go through a self-study material as well. So this is not a coding course. We are not developing actual, and there's no programming required. The focus is entirely on architectural thinking as well as decision making. So these are what you'll be able to achieve or prerequisite for this. With that, let's look at who is the target audience, who is the right person for this program. So you'll be the right fit if you're a senior engineer or tech leads who are transitioning into AI or machine learning solution-based architecture roles, infrastructure-based architecture role on, or you're an existing architect who wants to add generative AI, agentic AI, machine learning into your design vocabulary, or you are an engineering manager who needs to evaluate or challenge your and approve any AI architecture based proposal that's come on your way, or you're a data scientist or a machine learning engineer moving from a model building to system level thinking now, or you're a technical consultant or a pre-sales engineer who's positioning in AI solutions based enterprises or for enterprise clients, providing these solutions as well. So these are, if you're anyone else, as long as you're moving towards or want to do architecture level decisions or part of any engagement, that's what you'll be right fit for this program. With that, let's look at the course duration. It's roughly around, it's a very comprehensive, around 20 hours, all about design decisions, which will be live interactive. There'll be homework given apart from that, and there'll be some before and after sessions on to understanding how you're going with that. There'll be roughly around 10 sessions of 2 hours each, and then some homework will be given between each of these next assignments so you can work and design. It's a recommended, it's a instructor led, it's a live virtual, we'll be meeting on the Zoom, but you'll also have access to a community, our community that we host with, you'll be meeting other members who are part of this program, also access to a WhatsApp community, will be talking and chatting. If you need any help, there'll be also a ticketing system for any post-course session support that you need. Now with that, let's look at the module-wise topics that what you'll be learning. So block one, it's all about, as I said, it's a cohort-based live interactive session, which 5 progressive blocks. Each is roughly around 2 hours, give or take. It might be slightly more depending on the number of questions we get. So you'll be able to you'll have an opportunity to ask questions, discuss, and after the class, we'll be able to meet your other colleagues and friends. So it'll be demonstrations, it'll be guide, practice, exercises, and it'll be designing the actual systems that you can take away and put it in your resume. So block one is all about foundation and vocabulary, which is roughly session 1 and 2. Block 2, which is session 3 and 4, are more about machine learning classification systems. Machine level module 5 and or session 5 or 6 or module 5 and 6 is all about RAG, enterprise RAG systems. 7, 8 are about multi-agent system. And then block 9 and 10, this is where we're going to do capstone project and end-to-end integration or end-to-end systems as well. With that, let's look at these breakdown into each of these, a little bit deeper into each of these topics that we do model-wise, what you'll be learning. So we'll beginning with the AI system, the architecture, the AI system architecture, and the bigger picture. And this is where we'll be looking at the 7 building blocks of AI system, right from data to the model to the serving to the APIs to the monitoring, orchestration, and human in the loop. We'll be looking at the 3 reference architectures walkthroughs, and they'll be completing the labeling exercise that you require. Now, with that, a takeaway will be that the architectural vocabulary handout that will be labels and annotations on a reference architecture diagram that you can showcase in your resume as well as in the interview and implement something similar in your organization. The session 2 or module 2 will be all about generative AI and the agentic AI architecture landscape. And this is where we'll look at large language model serving patterns. We'll also look at a RAG architecture, a retrieval augment generation, different type of architectures. We'll also look at the different agentic AI patterns. Patterns like React, which is reasoning and acting. We'll also look at plan execute. We'll also look at supervisor worker or SOM pattern. There are different patterns, which one the key focus depending on the requirement that you might have. We'll also be looking at the self-hosted versus API trade-offs, which one is better in what scenario, which one to pick. And these are some of the architectural decisions that we'll be taking. Now, we'll also be building a when to use what decision metrics so you can decide and you can give a feedback or give a reasoning about why you picked up a particular solution. So the outcome of that this model is going to be will be having a pattern selection cheat sheet so that you can classify the 7 real world scenarios into the correct patterns. So we'll be discussing these patterns and outcome will be that. Then module 3 or session 3 is all about live architecting, where we'll be using a test use cases of a ticketing classification system as well as the sentimental analysis based on the ticket that we receive. So we'll look at how right from requirement gathering to the questioning to the decision and the diagram chain. First will be, and then will be, this is where we'll be doing a demo and then complete the end-to-end machine learning pipeline, ingestion, pre-processing, training, serving, API, monitoring, retraining, model selections, and we'll look at what are the different models and which one to pick in what scenarios. So Distilbert or LLMs or XGBoost or confidence gating. And the takeaway from this module or the session is going to be we'll have our architectural decision record, a document with one key decision and with rationals and trade-offs on selecting a particular thing. So that's what we're going to cover in module number 3 or session 3. Then module 4 or session 4, we are going to talk all about scaling and hardening the machine learning system. And this is where we'll be looking at the constraint-driven evaluation, like how do you scale from 2K requests to or 50K per minute, or doing a multi-tenancy as well as some of the compliance like HIPAA or PCI DSS and so on. We'll also looking at the explainability, cost tracking, how the cost increases based on the requirement increase or the as the system scale. We'll also look at the ripple effects of analyzing across components. The key takeaway is, and we'll be building is a constant response exercise where we will be diagnosing as well as fixing an accuracy drop scenario, which is all covering all these 4 different constraints. So that's session 4, module 4. In module 5, we are going to go on a live architecting an enterprise architecture or enterprise RAG system. And this is where we'll be looking at the architect's question generator, which is a 7 universal categories for an architect on deciding formal. And this is where we'll be formally introducing our full RAG pipeline, ingestion, chunking on the RAG solution, embeddings, vector store, retrieval, re-ranking, generation, guardrail, and then which vector database to select based on the requirement of system requirement as well, and then including hybrid search. Now, if you're not familiar with these concepts, that's where our prerequisite, the basic concepts that you need to understand what these mean. Each of these concepts will be giving you as a prerequisite if you're new to these concepts. We'll also like at ADRs, we'll build our ADR for vector databases selection, which vector database we're going to pick and why in what scenario as well. And we'll also look at build our from scratch versus buy a scorecard so you can decide on enterprise depending on how big the enterprise is, what are the solutions available, and trade off between those so you can pick up whether we to build that rack system or the buy any out of the box. Once that's done, module 6 is all about RAG, retrieval augmented generation failure models as well as production hardening. And this is where we're going to look at anti-patterns. What happens in wrong chunk sizes, hallucinations, despite the groundings, state document. So some of the issues that you might encounter or issues you need to be aware of, this is what we're going to look in this. We'll also look at evaluation architecture. How do you do offline evaluations? So how your AI RAG systems are behaving. We'll also look at LLM as a judge, human feedback, semantic caching, and then how do you reduce the cost of the system, multi-tenant RAG isolations. And the takeaway from this is going to be we'll be having a domain adaptation exercise where we adapt the RAG architecture for legal and medical use cases. So we'll take two one of the biggest ones, industries, medical and legal, where we see a lot of use cases. And then module number 7 is all about live architecting the multi-agent customer operation. So this is where we'll use a multi-agent use case industry from a customer service, and we'll be designing and architecting. This is where we'll be looking at agent orchestration patterns. So different patterns and which one you're going to pick using supervisor worker, peer-to-peer, hierarchical, and so on. These are the 4 patterns that we look systems we are going to design. We're also going to look at the communication protocol. This is where we'll say how these agents talk to each other, maybe A2A or MCP and other things we're going to look at. We'll also look at short-term, long-term memory, and then as well as per agent-based memory. We'll also look at tools to access the policies when one agent is talking to other agent for the policies for data or policies for who can access what. And this is where the outcome of this is going to be the tool access policy table as well as communication protocols we'll be putting in our ADR. So that's module number 7. Now, once you have designed a system, the next question comes from an enterprise system point of view is the cost cutting. The reliability, observability, and security. This is the next operation. So in module 8, we are going to look at the agent reliability, observability, security, and this is where we look at the failure propagation as well as the blast radius analysis. If you've already done designing, you're probably already familiar. If not, we'll cover all these things. We'll also look at human in the loop gates as well as observability of the entire agentic AI system, tracing, cost per call, latency, and things. We'll also look at the how the way you might have heard of SQL injection on the similar lines, prompt injection mitigation. How do you mitigate anyone doing prompt injections? Also agent versioning as well as A/B testing. How do you do the version control of the agent and then split it? The outcome of this is going to be, or the result key takeaway from that module is going to be, we'll have a 4 or 5 column of failure mode analysis as well as the complete 4 agent systems we are going to look at. The module number 9 is all about cost cutting as well as decision framework. And this is where we'll look at cost architecture all across all the 3 systems. We'll also look at the deployment model where you deploy these systems, whether AI systems, blue-green deployment or canary wharf deployment or shadow model deployment. We'll also look at compliance from an architectural concerns like SOC 2, GDPR, HIPAA, or other compliance that you're aware or that you might be implementing. We'll also look at and we'll put it into our ADR, AI architecture decision playbook. Also, then this is where we'll be preparing you from the last final capstone project. This is a big project that we'll be doing. We'll be seeing what the brief of that project is going to be. Also generate questions right from start and then start creating our decision table. So that will cover all the concepts, everything. And then on the 10th module or 10th session, we're going to wrap up everything by building a capstone project. We will be design, defend, or present that decision, and then we'll do exercise among each other. All the peers will be followed by some of the industry experts who will be coming and reviewing your work as an architect. So this is where we'll be going from as an independent architectural design from a fresh requirement brief you'll be getting, and then based on that, you'll be covering or asking more questions. You'll be doing requirement gathering, questions, decisions, diagram chain, as well as you'll be doing presentations as you do in any enterprise systems or when you with your team as well. And then your peers or other members will be critiquing you, and the other enterprise architects will come and review your work as well. So the deliverable from this module is going to be, you'll be delivering a capstone project with a list of all the questions, the decision table, architecture diagram, risk register, and then you'll be presenting that across the peers. So that's fine, we'll be delivering. And these are all the artifacts that you can take in your interviews if you're preparing for AI-based architectural interviews, or you're already implementing in your company, you can use them as a playbook for your enterprises as well. So this is all overall you'll be doing. Now, this is, as I said, is an application only. I'll talk about an application, but before that, let me talk about who am I and who you're learning from. So you're coming from a real experience. So that's me, Atul, close to 2.5 decade of IT experience. And these are some of the clients I've worked across the globe, mainly here in the UK with companies like Royal Bank of Scotland here in the UK, WorldPay here again in UK, Atreides in Netherlands. I have worked with ICC, International Computing Center in Switzerland, Pepperdine in US, Toyota in Brussels, Scottish Government in Scotland, Tucson Electric Power in US, Imperial College in London, American Excel in US, Hexaware, Data Whale, HP in US again, Rubicon Red in US, Pepperdine in US, as far as Saudi Railways and some of the clients across the globe, as in working as an architect, senior architect, data architect, enterprise architect, and cloud on AI and multi-AI systems as well. I've gone from earning less than 100 back in India in 2001, 2002, 2003 to then moving to UK 425, 500, 700, now in excess of £1,000 a day. And it's not just I have done it, I have hundreds of students who have helped in achieving the results, like Shovik got a job as a senior enterprise architect in Bank of America in US. This is Devesh landed a job as a solution architect. This is Malaya, senior solution architect. This is Gopinath, got job as a cloud architect. This is Shrija, struggling to get a job to now working in Canada within 6 months or so, working with us in AI and machine learning. This Steve got a job as an AI engineer. Debashis as an AI engineer. SJ, her husband got a new job and she almost doubled her salary. Amol got a senior system engineer. I have tons and tons of guys who got results and results after results of tons and tons of results like that. So I'm 100% confident if you follow this, you'll get a result for sure as well. With that, let's look at what are the criteria for this application. As I said, it's an application only things to this is to make sure that we ensure the quality. This is a very close group and my personal attention. We'll be bringing a couple of other experts. There'll be an enterprise architect and couple of other guys will be learning, so not just me alone, but some of the industry experts will be coming and teaching these things. So it's a live cohort. We are limiting it to 25 guys and we'll make sure that we attract the best who come into the program. So to apply, this is a short form just below this, ketonacademy.com/apply AI architect. We'll be asking the questions to make sure that you're right. It's not just we want to make sure that when you learn from others, they are also at of your caliber and guys who are senior as well. It only takes 3 minutes, less than 3 minutes to fill, and to make sure that we'll let you know if your application is accepted, we'll let you know, and then you can take a call whether you want to go ahead with this or not. With that, there's no obligation to join. It's to make sure that we get right. Now, any point in time, if you have any questions, anything that you have, again, fill this form. Make sure that you definitely enter your LinkedIn profile to make sure that if this is not the right program, and if you still want to work us, we'll tell you what is the right program to work with us as well. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask just below this video. There should be some link or something. Reach out to my team or fill this form. We'll hear from and you can ask more questions as well. With that, this is Atul. Thanks for watching and listening this, and can't wait to see you inside the program. Take care and bye for now.